New Cardinals head coach Steve Wilks spent the last 6 years in Carolina, where he served as the defensive backs coach, assistant head coach, and 1 year as the team's defensive coordinator. Arizona would be Wilks' fifth team, serving as a secondary coach at each of the previous four. He's had 1 year as a head coach at any level. This was when he led Savannah State in 1999 for one season. We are currently awaiting Steve Wilks, who will be introduced in Arizona at a press conference momentarily. So as we wait to take you live to the desert, I'll simply ask what Steve Wilks brings, Jeff, to this organization. Clearly there's some questions at quarterback. There's some holes to fill, but what do you think about when you think of Wilks there as the head coach?
Well, I think he's coming into a good situation on the defensive side of the ball and what he likes to do. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to blitz. When you have Patrick Peterson on the back end and you know how to design defenses, he knows what he's doing. I mean, you think he had Josh Norman, so he's had players that he's kind of built defenses around. So I think from that standpoint, he'll be effective in that role. I love Bruce Arians as a coach. He coached me early in my career, and I like him. I also think he'll bring some stability. I know you have quarterback problems, but BA loved to push the ball down the field, and that stresses a lot of points on the offense. And when Johnson went out earlier in the year, it made it difficult for those guys to kind of find their way. They battled in some games. But ultimately, coming back in, if you're a defensive-minded guy, you don't want to have turnovers. You want to limit opportunities for other defenses to make big plays. I think that will complement where this team is offensively, right? Build it conservatively, letting your defense make the plays and keep you in a lot of games. I understand that's a philosophy that every defensive-minded guy wants to have, but I think with the personnel he has, he can do that, and effectively that'll help them.
If I'm understanding correctly, Steve Wilks is now being introduced. We take you out to Arizona.
Watching on azcardinals.com, as well as the network audience from NFL Network. We're thrilled today, 3 weeks later, to be at an introductory press conference for Coach Stephen Wilks. And so I want to make a couple of introductions. I want to welcome our staff and alumni who are here in our auditorium here in Tempe, Arizona, as well as I want to introduce Coach Wilks' family who's here, his wife Marcy, daughters Marissa, Milani, and son Stephen James. So welcome to Arizona. We couldn't be more excited to have you here. We're thrilled today because after 3 weeks, so the last time I was in front of this audience 3 weeks ago, we told you that we were going to have a very deliberate, lengthy, and thorough search. And what we've been in is traveled thousands and thousands of miles to cities as cold as minus 90 degrees. We've had hundreds of hours worth of interviews, conversations, text messages, emails, input from a variety of candidates. I want to thank all the candidates that participated in our search. We knew that 3 weeks ago that one person would stand out among all the great candidates that we were going to be speaking to. We just didn't know which one. We were focused on somebody who could be a great leader for the Cardinals, somebody who had had a track record of success at multiple different organizations and would continue this great culture of accountability that's been around this organization for a number of years, thanks to Coach Bruce Arians. So as we went through this process over the last 3 weeks, all these thousands of miles, hundreds of hours of interviews, multiple conversations with owners, players, alum, staff, other coaches, Steve Keim and I, our general manager, had hundreds and hundreds of hours of input. And we couldn't be more excited, more thrilled to be introducing Steve Wilks as our new head coach. What we found, and Steve Keim did an outstanding job of really sifting through a lot of the input because we wanted to make sure we did a thorough job. We found a great leader, and not just a leader with a high football IQ, but also a high football EQ. He just doesn't coach football players, he coaches people. And when I say EQ, I'm talking about emotional quotient. Somebody who's really got that sense of where the players are. And we talked about that and learned a lot about. That's a unique skill that Steve Wilks has. He knows where the players are 15 minutes after they walk into the training facility and make sure that they, where they are as people, because they're not going to be ready to learn and be well coached until if they've got any issues outside of the organization. And he adapts his teaching to each one of his players. across the board, his players at all the teams he's coached at in the NFL, not only did we seek their input, but many of them, unsolicited, reached out to us to tell us what a great coach he is. He's a terrific communicator, which is a key part of being a terrific leader. He's got the track record of developing players, veterans players, as well as young rookie players, and we learned a lot about all that has happened throughout his career here in the NFL and in college. So it was also very important that we have that accountability here, and that's something that he really focused on. And I think you'll hear him speak about he wants to build a culture here of trust, commitment, and accountability. So today I'm thrilled with Steve Keim, our great general manager, who will be here to answer questions as well, to introduce our head coach, Steve Wilks. Please join me.
Good afternoon. I'm extremely proud and humbled to stand here before you today. I'm proud to accept this job as being the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm extremely humbled because I realize there's only 32 in the whole world. And I'm very blessed and thankful for that. Michael talked about it. He talked about my family. I have to recognize what I call Team Wilks. My lovely wife, Marcy, my daughter, Marissa, Milani, and a handsome young man right there, Stephen James. There's so many other people that have helped me get to this point in my career, and I must recognize those individuals as well. My first mentor, Ruffin McNeil, he was my college coach. He really got me into coaching. He showed me the ropes early on in my career, someone that I'm truly grateful and thankful for. Darryl McNeil gave me my first job at Johnson C. Smith University. Tyrone Willingham, that I had the very fortunate opportunity to work with at the University of Notre Dame, as well as the University of Washington. And with him, I understood what the word coach really meant. It's not just about the X's and O's, it's about the character. And it's about developing these young men, not only on the field, but off the field as well. Lovie Smith at Chicago Bears, he gave me an opportunity that many did not do. And there I learned a base foundation. It's about fundamentals and technique. And I never swayed away from that. Had an opportunity to go to the Chargers, and I got with Norb Turner, a great offensive mind in the National Football League. And there I learned what this game is really about. It's about matchups and trying to find and exploit those matchups each and every week. And then I got with a man, Ron Rivera, a good friend, a good mentor, someone that gave me the platform, all right, to really sharpen my skills as an assistant head coach. Someone that believed in me when he stepped away, that he knew we wouldn't miss a beat by putting me in charge. And I thank him for that. I'm very proud of the things that I've accomplished over my career, particularly this past year at Carolina as a defensive coordinator. But I can't stand here and take all the credit for that. I had an outstanding staff. When you look up front, you look at Eric Washington, Sam Mills, defensive line, Al Holcomb, the linebacker coach, Curtis Fuller, Richard Rogers, and Jeff Imamura coaching the DBs. See, you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. I got to give a special thanks to Brandon Beane, Dave Gettleman, Marty Herney, Stephen Drummond, and Ryan Anderson. Those guys really supported me throughout my time there. And I got to give a special thanks to Mr. Jerry Richardson, someone that was truly a good friend and a tremendous supporter of mine for 6 years. When you look at coming into a new situation, you always talk about trying to establish a culture. We want to establish a culture of winning. And I want that culture to transcend not only with the players and the coaches, but with everybody in this organization. You know, it's about a commitment to excellence. And everything that we do is going to be predicated towards that. Excellence when we go out on the field, the way we tackle, the way we block, the way we catch, the way we cook the food, all right? The way we operate in the training room, the way we answer the phone, and the way we cut the grass. Again, it's many parts but one body of work, and we all working towards one common goal, and that's to bring a world championship here to the Arizona Cardinals. When you look at a foundation, and Michael talked about that. I believe in 3 pillars: trust, commitment, and accountability. Before you start talking about any scheme, offense, defense, special teams, you have to have that trust. Trust among the coaches, trust among the players, and most importantly, trust throughout this organization that we're all about one common goal, as I just talked about. That commitment, every day that we walk into this building, it's about getting better today than we were yesterday. And we all committed in one common goal. And once again, that's bringing the world championship here to Arizona. And that accountability, I told Steve, I told Michael this right here, is that when I sign my name on that dotted line, okay, all right, I'm committed right now to doing everything I can to put this organization in the best situation to win the championship. And there's no entitlement, not with me, not with any other players. We got to earn our right each and every day. And as I embark on this new team, I got to thank Steve Kine, I got to thank Michael Bidwell and the entire Bidwell family for this opportunity. It means a lot to me, and we expressed that before, and I'm telling you right now, you guys made the right decision. I really believe that. When you start talking about how I want this football team to look, I'm not going to get into schemes, offense, defense, and special teams. All right? There's a certain DNA that I want this team to have. All right? And the number one DNA is physicality and effort. When our fans, when the other teams watch us play, we're going to play with more physicality and more effort than any other team out there. The second element of our DNA is being smart. There's 2 things that I would not tolerate. That's pre-snap and post-snap penalties. Pre-snap to me is a sign of being undisciplined. Post-snap is a sign of being selfish. And everything that I'm talking about, everything that we're doing is about team. Again, it's not about me. It's not about them as individuals. It's about us. And that's what we're going to focus on. Being smart is also understanding the situation. You're talking about understanding the game. Knowing in a 2-minute situation how many timeouts we have, how much time is on the clock, what do we need, a touchdown or field goal. It's being smart and not just being a part of the game, but playing the game. That last element right there is finish. Everything that we do, we're going to finish. And it's not just about on the football field. When we walk into this building, we're going to finish in the classroom. We're going to be students of the game. In our walkthrough, we're going to be laser focused in the things that we're doing. In practice, finish.
That was Steve Wilks in his introductory press conference. He led an aggressive Panthers defense in his only season last year as the D coordinator in Carolina. They blitzed more than any team except Cleveland and led the league in sacks from the blitz. He'll have plenty of toys to play with in Arizona. Nothing helps a blitz like a shutdown corner. Patrick Peterson is that. He signed through 2020. Tyrann Mathieu, Budda Baker, and Hassan Reddick will all be with the Cardinals through at least 2020. The Cowboys season fell short, but we're going to talk about Steve Wilks first. We're not going to. I'm aggressive. I'm like that Carolina defense.
Blitz.
Ready to go. But obviously, you heard Steve Wilks there, coming from Carolina and intent on setting a tone or continuing a tone in Arizona as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he understands what it's going to take to win football games. He's trying to set the example, just from the jump. Hey, this is how I'm going to carry myself, the DNA, all of those things are things that you want from a football team. He knows. I mean, this is all coach speak right now. You'll know it when you see it on the practice field.
Time to go to